It's an extra garment.
Could be a short cape, you know, a summer cape, a rainy season cape.
Capes aren't just aren't tactical anymore.
What if you want to fly?
Still not tactical.
I suppose so. Well, we are going to be jumping into this ban phase for game number 3. Sintra ban comes out pretty early. They definitely don't want to have candy on that champion.
It felt like he offered too much control and strange set of bans. Typically we see them go this way in the second rotation, not this early on, but let's see what direction BBQ go with this, because no AD carries have been targeted. Typically we saw 3. Now we only have 1 slot remaining, and I think it's gotta be the Kalista. Veritas is more than okay to play, but are they fine with giving it up? No siree. That's Tristana up. Are they gonna go with the Sejuani again? I think you gotta take the Trist here. You know it's a hyper carry good enough for Ghost.
I like the Trist as well, but it seems like Ghost is comfortable with Cog, but he's gonna switch it over to the Trist.
Okay, let's see how far does BBQ go in their compositions here, because now they've given up the Sejuani. I don't think CJ Entus ever cared about Sejuani, so it shouldn't be taken away. And now that another AD carry has been taken away, Veritas will typically resort to the Ashe or the Caitlyn. That's obviously a mid lane Corki, but now their composition needs to revolve around the potential AD that Veritas will have and around a Corki into the mid lane. So lots of tanks once again for CJ, and that could put Soul in an unfavorable matchup once again. He didn't do very well into the tank on tank matchup, and I can't imagine him doing well here. Why do they like Sejuani?
Sejuani,
What's with the Sejuani here? You know, in the Worlds qualifiers, it's all about Gragas and Jarvan. It's been like that for months now.
What happened to Zac, too?
Well,
we don't really see Zac anymore.
Zac's early game got nerfed a little bit too much, and so he's still quite relevant when it comes to dealing with champions that are immobile. The problem with Zac is also that with the rise of tanking and supports, especially Alistar, you've got more people playing Thresh. You've got even people trying Morgana out. There's so much that annoys Zac in getting those engages up. Then you have Maokai, you've got Gragas' Slam that can also deter you. It becomes really difficult to find the angles that you need. And so if the team is on top of the game and finding wards, finding deep wards to see where Zac is slingshotting from, his engage can be negligible.
Gragas does seem a little bit more consistent, I would say. And we are going to see Lucian here for Tempt. They're going for a double AD carry once again. They decide to move away from the Corki this time. Pick up the Lucian instead. Corki was actually taken already on the side of CJ, so Lucian
will have the advantage in the matchup against Corki. Not too crazy, but it should allow BBQ and Bless to invade as aggressively as they did last time.
This is Tempt up against SKT. Taking out Faker, although it was messy. He did it in the end.
Oh, that wasn't even the first time, I think.
Yeah. Said it before, Tempt is definitely a guy that mid laners and LCK respect to a high level. They put him pretty high up on the level, or on the ladder of LCK mids. He would love to be back there.
The organization would really love for these teams to be back there. I mean, there's a lot at stake here if you actually lose. Remember, it was like 2 years ago an LCS spot would sell for $1 million. That's basically an LCK spot 2 years later. And these are big companies, BBQ, CJ Entus. They don't want to have to deal with these major losses.
They don't want to have to deal with another season of Challenger either. As I said before, LCK is the show to watch. Challenge is just kind of the sideshow.
So they ban out Pure here. More supports to protect the Kog'Maw. Karma's still available, so is Janna. But is CJ prepared to play a similar playstyle to what BBQ played in Game 1? It does take a lot of patience, and I don't think CJ has proven that they have that much patience.
Well, they're going to leave the support pick for the end, it seems. Going to just go ahead and show their top laner already.
See, you got to go blind for a pick here. You're working with your Tristana. I think you've got Alistar, you've got Braum. You're already going with a heavy physical and auto attack lineup. I think Braum or Alistar have to be your go-tos here. You can try out with Thresh. Oh, whoa, Janna. So denying the Janna instead. They're just going to go with running the same strategy as Game 1. And I think a Shen here, if they pull off a Shen, oh, I actually want to see the Shen again. This would make so much sense. It's a good matchup into the Renekton.
10 seconds.
You can stop the auto attack damage from the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, they got double 80 carry on the opposite side. I guess they decide to go with this heavy magic dealer that can get into the backline onto that Kog'Maw instead.
Oh. It works, but once again, they're in a composition that will require a lot of finesse. They don't have tools to defend their bottom lane that much. Last time they did have invisibility as the ability of the AD carry to get away. This time it's a little bit more in your face. Tristana with her ultimate and her jump can be quite difficult to get onto, but without a Shen to protect her, the heavy engage from Sejuani and the last pick Rakan can be more than enough to find a pick onto any of these two ADs.
Yeah, lots of pick on the side of CJ Entus to support their 280 carries. Totoro going to be on disengage duty for the majority of the time. He's going to need some quick reaction time against that Rakan. Curious to see what Crazy can do on this Rumble. He made Soul Auxilian game number 2, especially playing that Shen. I think he Flame Horizoned him at the end. So going into more of a carry versus Renekton matchup here, will he be able to have as much of an impact in game number 3 is a big question for me.
Well, the junglers will have to be kept out of the lineup. What did that even say?
Indefeatable.
Indefeatable.
I remember.
Indefeatable. Let's see if he truly is indefeatable.
Well, you need to win here. Because he wasn't indefeatable in game number 2. We don't know if he
needs to win because we don't know what indefeatable means.
That's true. Maybe indefeatable means that you win one game and then you lose 2 in a row. Maybe that's the true meaning of
That would just be a terrible sign to have.
Indefeatable. Yeah. Could be.
So BBQ will need to keep the junglers in check, have Rumble Lucian, Tristana pushing for days. And that will be what allows them to start building up slight CS advantages in the lane, whereas CJ might need to take a page out of BBQ's book and look for some early ganks out of Winged. Pre-level 6, you can go to the top side, especially with your Renekton. Help that lane out, start trying to get some advantages elsewhere, mitigate the potential laning prowess that BBQ have already drafted. And if they can get past that point, start grouping up with Sejuani and Rakan, they can get some good engages off.
Got another short pause here, guys. Stick with us. We didn't get a chance to see what issue it was the first time, but I hope we do this time, to be honest, personally. Veritas looked for a quick checkup on his mouse. So it looks like it's a mouse issue this time around.
I hope his mouse is okay and he's been well fed. We don't want to have any pets dying.
Do you have to feed your mice? I've been doing it wrong all along.
Yeah, you feed them to the snakes, right? They're like the food for snakes. So if you have
So what
snakes,
do you feed the mice?
Nothing. You feed them 2 snakes.
You feed them 2 snakes?
No,
like,
you feed if you have mice, a lot of times people will just buy mice to feed it to the snakes. It's like
what if you wanted to actually keep it as a pet though?
I think you feed it beans and little vegetables and little meat. Yeah.
This is the first time we've been on camera all night. Hi guys.
I know. Check it out. We got. Look at that.
You guys can't see it because the monitors are in the way.
New shirts,
but yeah, we look a lot better. look a little bit less like American schoolboys and more like British schoolboys, as you were talking about before.
That's still, I think you could say that qualifies as better.
Yeah. I like the ties. Ties are pretty nice. This whole day it just feels like we're at some kind of like esports festival because it lasts for so long. It's 3 best of 3s. We got here at 1 p.m. This is earlier than I've woken up in like 3 weeks.
I know, right? That was actually the yeah, that was the toughest part. We don't wake up very early here.
I think I had to get up at 10 a.m.
Just imagine what
Get
it's
ready.
like for the players, though.
Yeah.
You know, they're vocal that they have to be up around 11:45 for their first scrim at noon. They have to play at 1, call time at 12, so they have to also change their schedules a little bit to make it out to the next arena.
Maybe that first game was just a fluke from BBQ. They were the favorites in our mind as the LCK team coming in here. They got to choose who they go up against as they were in 9th place and not 10th place. And they chose CJ Entus even after they won in the challenge finals.
Well, not only did they choose them because CJ themselves felt like they were just tossed around in that finals, that it wasn't so much them taking the 3-2 victory, but BBQ have a great record against CJ. 6-2 is the overall record, and before, when it was ever, you can make that 11-2.
Yeah.
So they have definitely caught CJ's number for a long time, and it's just a matter of changing the brands. Remember that this was before the Ever squad that now has returned to beat CJ once again. And it seems like maybe it's the teams that have Ever in their names that are the bane of CJ Entus, because Ever 8 also disqualified CJ Entus last promotion match.
Yeah. Candy's looking pretty fantastical indeed.
Fantastical, mighty mid laner. Who made those? Do you think they chose that? I hope so.
Probably the fans. If they chose it, well,
what are you going to say?
Safe to say they've been practicing their League of Legends very hard.
And not their English.
You see that guy's pants? The reflection on the monitor?
Yeah, they're just pants.
Those are not just pants. They have shapes on them. Circles, squares, and triangles. And he's wearing sandals with them. That guy came prepared. He came here comfortable, ready to go to 9 games of our 3 best of 3s.
You know, that reminds me of the movie It. I know you said you haven't seen it, but it's a good movie.
I haven't watched it, but I will, and I know the concept. So
it's a demon clown.
Yeah,
it's
you spoiled that for me earlier.
It's the best part of the movie, actually. I'll give you a forewarning. It's too long. It's like 2.5 hours.
I saw that. What's the name of that movie I just saw? The one I was Valerian.
Valerian.
Yeah, that one was also 2.5 minutes long. Or yeah,
2.5 hours.
Not 2.5 minutes.
Oh, Jesus, that's too long. That's too long for a movie. Either you make it epic or you cut the time down.
2.5 hours, yeah. It's a long time.
We got places to be, games to cast.
So the movie was 2.5 hours long?
Yeah, it was a horror movie that's 2.5. You can't be
Don't
scared
the
for 2.5
kids just go
hours.
in the sewers and then they die?
Why would you, if that was the premise, why would you even be interested in watching it?
I mean, I'm sure there's other story in it. I just don't really know.
He's indefatigable and faithful.
Oh, yeah, it's indefatigable, not indefeatable. Is that a real word?
Trustworthy, reliable jungle. Nice. Okay, I think that might be the best one. Fantastical Mighty, we know this one. It's like Powerpuff Girls telling us what their powers are. Such a good show.
Veritas. Indomitable.
Pentakill AD carry.
Pentakill.
What do you think about this one?
Pure. Constant. That's it. He's just constant. The never-changing constant of the universe is Pure. He will never retire.
These are honestly probably the best name plaques I've seen in a while.
Yeah, BBQ's got to step it up. They just have
chicken flavors.
I think the names. Yeah.
Hot and spicy, habanero.
I've ordered from BBQ a couple of times. They do have some good chicken. I think one of my favorites is like the Istanbul flavored chicken.
What flavor is that?
They do their flavors based off of like names of places, I think.
What does Istanbul taste like?
I don't know. It was pretty spicy. My stomach hurt afterwards, though.
Oh.
I don't know if that was a good idea, but it tasted good. Tasted very good.
You know what I had the other day that tasted real good?
What's that?
Puffer fish.
Puffer fish. Yeah.
I know. Puffer fish.
No poison?
They put a little bit of poison in there so you can feel it.
What does it feel like?
You're tingling a little bit. You feel like your neck tightens a bit.
That's scary.
I know.
Why would you want to eat that?
Because it was delicious.
So scary.
And it's a delicacy.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to get a chance? You can't go back to the States and eat that.
Probably not, yeah. We got some guy's hair featured on the stream. Looks very tidy. I don't know. Not as good as ours.
Are you talking about yourself?
No.
What? We're
there was
the
a guy.
ones.
There was hair.
Oh, I didn't see it.
There.
I only have the game feed. I don't get to see the full on.
You have like the Observer PC.
Yes.
But you don't have a mouse, so I don't really know. See, there it is again. Did you see it?
I didn't get to see it. You sound just like
attention.
a crazy person here.
Yeah.
Well, what's not crazy is that we're still stuck in a pause.
The players are reconnecting, so.
But just to reiterate about the meaning of this game. Loser basically has one shot and one opportunity left. And it's not even a best of 5. It's a best of 3 that you're up against now. And on top of that, you do get the benefit of a little bit of rest because obviously the second set plays and then they play together, so you have that bonus. But you get to sit more time sulking in your mistake.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, that's awful.
It's bad? Would you rather just play right away?
Yeah, you obviously just get it all over right away.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it would be good to have time to regroup and really discuss what went wrong and like try to lighten the mood a little bit, you know? I feel like you can get caught on like one-track mindedness if you lose and then you're like, oh, we suck and now we got to play Kongdu. Oh, God, you know.
You just can't lighten the mood with these games, though. Like, we got Worlds coming up, with it, which is the end of the spectrum of the pinnacle of victory ecstasy. You're the best team in the world, the best team in your region. That's what you're looking for. But over here, we're the opposite. It's not to say that it's the worst play of League of Legends by any stretch of the imagination, but when it comes to the sadness that a team and the player feels by losing here, this could be a game-ending loss. You know, I've been in relegations 3 times, and that's the only reason why I stayed relevant. I never lost in relegations. I stayed alive like a 7-minute YouTube video with 4 minutes of song and 3 minutes of silence afterwards. So you're wondering, why is this still here? Shouldn't it just be moving on to the next song?
Staying alive.
Yeah.
Will we get a shot of pure? Nope. Just constant. That's all he is.
Will he ever be more?
Will he begin his LCK career? Do you know if this guy's been in LCK? Did he play with them back in the day?
I didn't play with him. I know Veritas was actually on Unicorns of Love. And he won IEM Oakland.
Cool.
He used to be in the Challenger Series in North America.
Yeah.
I remember him in solo queue. But, you know, you can't treat people in person to how they are in solo queue. What you are online does not define you. You got to remember that. It's true.
What do you mean by that?
Anybody that I've met online that maybe has struck me, and I don't mean just in game, in general, that has struck me as a maybe unpleasant person.
Yeah.
Has never been that in real life. Have always been the complete opposite.
Well, because they got to face the music, right? They got to actually talk to you and meet you in person.
It's like
if they're going to be rude to you in person.
Barking, though. It's just people that bark. You're just barking away. You're not actually bite.
Yeah. So when you meet them, it's like you're all meek. You're like, oh my God, I talk trash about this guy on the internet. I gotta like act like a nice human being, normal person.
Or maybe they're just all faking it. It's all a facade.
What, the trolling?
No,
trash
the being
talk?
nice in person.
Oh.
The world's out to get you.
That's how they get under your skin?
No. You can't get under my skin. I'm two-toned. You can't get, there's no room in there.
Yeah? Too much puffer fish? tightening up your throat and your skin.
Oh, God.
We're just chilling, guys.
Yeah.
I saw 2 BBQ players go to the bathroom, so we could be here for a while.
I mean, there's
Toilet
still
issues
we don't
on
even get to see a
lock
countdown
right
timer on our time countdown,
for the pause.
on the pause countdown. Yeah, so we're just stuck. Actually, we can mention one thing that is slightly different that will have implications on this game. Tristana is taking cleanse. You might forget it if the pause goes over 30 minutes again, but
we can mention it again.
Yeah, it is Tristana with cleanse and Janna with heal. So last time it was the barrier heal. This time it's cleanse because she's up against Sedge. Don't want to get hit with that. Don't want to start needing to itemize a QSS that early on.
Tempt himself, he took a heal, actually. The heal instead of the cleanse. Wants to have more of a 1v1 pressure versus the Corki.
Yeah.
You were saying how Lucian versus Corki is a pretty nice matchup. And so far, Tempt has been doing very well in lane against Candy. Definitely looks like the stronger mid laner.
Yeah, well, a lot of times we'll also get to see Corki go with an exhaust here in this matchup to make things a little bit easier against Candy. And hold the phone. The game is unpaused, but do we actually get to start things up again?
I think so. They're running.
I don't think we get. Yeah,
it's happening.
They're moving.
Pings are happening.
They're moving. You don't have to see us anymore.
Here we go.
Oh, thank God. Oh. Leave us. Take us out.
Bye.
Ah, there we go.
Okay. And there's that one girl in the audience. I'm really concerned about her voice.
Go give her some honey water after.
No, I'm not going to be giving her any honey.
Phrasing.
Not for me. Well, we actually have a game to talk about now. This is nice. I was wondering how long the pause was going to happen. With teams like this, I feel like going to game 3 is more likely. Do you feel the same way? Like when the teams are not as clean and like well practiced, and they're also closer in terms of skill level.
Of course, there's more elements that can stand out that change between each game. So one game, maybe their vision is a lot better. The second, not so much. So that fluctuation in skill makes a big difference in a best of 3. But no change in the itemization between the Janna and AD carry. It was the Targons, and it will be the Targons once again. But this time they have Rakan. Rakan can threaten a bit more than the Alistar when it comes to the laning phase. So we'll see if CJ Entus decide to pull the gun on the bottom side of the map, even though they have a Sejuani, but we have seen her go for level 2 gank. So the meme of Sejuani being only a level 6 jungler has long been deterred as she received that rework, making her a much stronger duelist early on.
Speaking of dueling, Tempt hitting level 2 first, pushing in the lane early, already trying to get a big advantage. He missed the CS though, so I'm not allowed to say anything nice about him anymore.
Well, missing CS is always one of the worst things that can happen if you're not under pressure, but you move on. You got to move on from your mistakes. He's still near perfect at that one, so not going to be that big a deal. As long as Corki can continue to farm under the tower, the pressure from Lucian should not amount to anything. That is until Les decides to start looking for Invaser. Remember that the Rumble will be able to push in against the Renekton if the junglers are not. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, come on.
You got to cut me off like that with missing a cannon?
Unbelievable.
How can he do that?
What do you think about Wing's jungle path? He went red to blue to the Scuttler, and now he's doing a full clear. Except he's going to have his Raptors taken away.
I mean, he goes to Scuttler because he wants to protect the bottom lane, so I get that. The thing is, it's not necessary. You're up against Janna with no exhaust or offensive summoner. There's no chance that a gank is going to happen this early on. Remember, the only chance that a gank happen bottom is because of a 2v2 engage. And trying to defend a lane that is not under threat, it's just a waste of time. So he's lucky that he's able to find his jungle once again, but Bless is still already in a good CS lead.
Yeah, he's taken both the Raptors. Definitely has helped him out in that number. Wings trying to catch up here. The Krugs. 5 Doran shields in this game. It's good to see that item, even after the slight nerf, is still around. Still alive and kicking.
Just makes your laning phase that much easier. You don't have to worry about having a bad trade. You get a bad trade, the gank comes up, and it's especially relevant when you're dealing with a Challenger Series game. Now, this Gragas gets spotted, so he's not going to do a whole lot here. But the gank does time itself well to miss out on the Canyon minion, forcing Renekton back. But back to the Doran shield. A big trait of Challenger teams is being able to exploit lane advantages. So instead of plays that get set up with minion waves, they can just pull the trigger on somebody getting really low in the lane. And if you just go with Doran shields to be safe, you'll find that you're giving less opportunities to Challenger teams and putting yourself in more favorable positions when it comes to defending any plays and having control of the early game.
You can see Tempt with an early lead in this lane, but getting low on mana here. Candy struggling to CS just a little bit. Not too far behind at the end of the day. He still does have that TP. He's going to pick all of these up. It looks like both of those guys in the mid lane are going to recall already.
I think now that we are on the third game with serious implications now at stake, both teams will find themselves relying more and more on the champions that they drafted. So more early game passivity is what we can expect here. Again, the Janna, you don't expect anything, but remember that BBQ wanted this exact same game plan and engage bottom, but she's got rocket jump. She'll be fine. They wanted this game plan, game 2, and it worked. But without Shen, I think it's going to be a whole lot harder to execute.
Does mean that Crazy will have more of a carry role. I wanted to talk a little bit about this player. He's, well, hold that thought. Candy's going to have his Valkyrie interrupted. Flash would not have saved his life. First blood will go over to Tempt in the mid lane on that Lucian.
He gets to cancel the Valkyrie, and worst of all, I'm pretty sure Wing spotted out Gragas there. He was aware that the gank was coming through. I got to get the replay and see what the vision was, but I have to imagine that there was sight of Gragas on that one, and that is going to swing the matchup heavily in Tempt's favor, as he's got 2 combat summoners and Candy only 1.
Okay, here we go. Here's the replay.
I mean, there's pain.
I think he saw him.
I think he has to have seen it.
By the way, Candy did have his flash too, so he just wasn't paying attention, but like, you can flash Valkyrie instead.
He's trying to push the wave. The thing is, the angle you gotta take for that one is really weird. Typically, you just want to flash directly backwards, but you're already in a position that flashing backwards will still likely hit you with the slam or allow Bless to continue with his own flash. So the only answer out of that one is flash horizontally and then Valkyrie even further horizontally to get out of that.
Either way, just lack of communication and not a fast enough response here from our mid laner, and he already burned his TP before, so you can see about 15 CS ahead. At the end of this, probably will just be 10 ahead is Tempt.
Let's take a look at the vision that BBQ has established here. Now that Tempt has an advantage, looking for a kill onto Candy is going to be too difficult, especially at this stage in the game when blue buff has been handed over, allowing his wave clear to easily match a Lucian even though he's far ahead. So we need to see Tempt start roaming. CS leads is not going to be enough here because you don't have that Shen, you don't have that crazy tank. And so you've got double control wards, 1 in the river top and 1 in the river bottom. But he needs to assist his own jungler if they want to make something happen here.
Wayne's coming into a control ward. If they can land the prison, would have been nice, but Here will show himself. Bless gets spotted here on a ward. And here we go, the Glacial Prison comes in and they get Totoro before he can react with his ultimate or his flash. Nicely set up there by CJ.
Very well done, looking for the right target. You know that Tristana is not a good one to go for with the cleanse. So they pick on Janna immediately and they only get her heal, but that's still a great pick overall. Even though Sejuani gets to have that kill for herself, the goal still within 500 gold, which should not mean a whole lot for CJ right now. Engage on the ghost,
they're going. Yeah, this is Rakan we're talking about, but doesn't look like it'll be enough at the end of it all. Veritas almost bursts him down. Now we got a 2-on-2 here. The culling coming out onto Winged, who does slow down 10th, but now it's a 1-on-2. That cast, though, trying to predict the Valkyrie did not work out. And look at this rotation out of CJ, trying to come up here with 5 members. Doesn't look like it'll work out, though, in the end.
That's a party cast out of Bless. That could have been what they needed to secure an even bigger lead for Tempt. Instead, it gets whiffed, and they even get a Renekton to come down there. So while it looked like a big misplay, they end up walking away with a big advantage, and we still have yet to see Rumble participate in any of these fights. His teleport was not completed down there. He just decided to stay up into the top side of the map, and with Renekton going with magic resistance this heavy early on, Rumble will have a very strong mid game if BBQ choose to go for Dragons. Let's look at this fight once again, bottom lane. So I imagine he just Arctic Assaults into ultimate. Oh, nice from Rakan, though.
I think he would have liked to hit Ghost with that Glacial Prison. Lock him up with the follow-up stun. But Janna was in the way. Too tall.
You played against Rakan before?
Yeah.
He's so fast.
Yeah. I mean, he just hops in there.
I know it looks like it's easy to avoid.
It's not.
As a spectator, but it is damn hard to avoid Rakan.
Especially good Rakan players, like all the pros that we have that play Rakan.
You mean all like 12 players?
What do you mean? Like all the supports?
All LCK supports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those 12. I mean, Pure's even playing a good Rakan here. That was extremely fast. It's just like lightning speed. It's really rough to deal with.
It's the power of love, just hits you.
Smack in the face.
Yeah.
Before you even realize what's happening, you're like, oh, I'm in love.
And then your prenup was forgotten. All of a sudden, you lost your house. Your dog even gets taken away.
It's not your dog anymore. It's Zaya's.
She saw you with Callista. She hasn't forgotten. Now you're with Kog'Maw. What are you even into, Rakan?
Oh, the Kog'Maw, that's so gross. Is Kog'Maw a Void monster also?
Yeah. Don't pull a Ted Cruz here, Pure.
Oh boy. So, Kha'Zix is a Void monster too.
So is Cho.
They don't seem very related. Cho and Kog'Maw kind of do. Nice stun though to stop that dash. Will Bless get away? He does not have his flash. And the answer is no. Rakan didn't have to be even fast for that one. Nice play by Winged.
Gragas getting caught out again. Not a good sign for CJ. Remember, he's going to be the main front line for BBQ with this lineup. There's not going to be anybody to be able to block the auto attacks and poke from Corki if he's not doing it. So it's very important that he stays relevant. Him falling behind might be too much.
Temp's trying to go all in here. He has no choice, really. He's going to be interrupted with the stun. He's going to dash forward, though. He wants that last auto. Can he get it? No. And he will survive at the end of it all. Nice follow-up gank by Winged once again.
And Candy still had flash. He played that so well, reminiscent of Crown, just utilizing those summoner spells only at the very last moment when it is absolutely necessary. And the reason why Temp felt like he had to chase in there when he went to the top side of the map is that Renekton was also coming down. So it felt like he was trapped, not looking to go for the escape route. Instead, ends up giving up a kill, and the Sejuani on Wing, it's looking a lot better than Bless's Sejuani.
Yeah. So active along the map. Every time he is somewhere, a kill somehow pops out. Fantastic start for our jungle from CJ Entus. Looks like Bless wants to trade back a little bit. Never mind. As he just hops over the wall. They're not going to dive this time around.
Remember that in our pre-game interview, BBQ felt like CJ Entus revolved around their jungle. That every time that Wing was doing something, the team would follow up. So let's take another look at this one. Renekton's coming down from River, so he's already trapped. So he's thinking, why the hell not? Just go for the all-in. He gets stunned, but he can't really dash out here. He doesn't have enough to run to the bottom side of the map, bottom right. You know that Corki's going to be able to chase him off with the rocket. So it was the right call for him to stay in there and try to get a return kill.
Definitely was. Takes a little bit away from his lead that he had early on. Still ahead in CS, but definitely makes things a little bit easier for Candy in that mid lane. Blade of the Rune King is finished up for Tempt, though, before this Trinity Force is even close for Candy. So if he wants to, he can continue to go in on some trades. He has both of his summoners available.
He can do so, but typically the Blade will just be used as sustain, as assisting with a gank. I think Corki is not going to allow himself to get all in with a summoner disadvantage. And looks like Corki's roaming down. They're expecting this, but the teleports, no one's looking for it, although they are both in position, not looking at each other in the lane top side.
Once they saw the fat man in the brush, just kind of gave up on that one. Bless kind of giving it away a little bit early, but I think the bot lane of BBQ is a little bit too far away to really join up with their jungler and make that happen.
So if we look at the gold here, even though it's even, I think it's safe to say that it's CJ Entus that is ahead, because it is inflated in Janna's pocket. Remember that Tristana did start with the Targons. They have been feeding a lot of gold to the Janna and making sure that she can get as much of this laning phase gold as possible. And that's keeping the gold relevant. However, remember that CJ has been typically the ones making the initial play, going for the roams themselves, threatening moves as opposed to being reactive. And that was the initial danger with compositions that BBQ was running. What we saw in game one, that was what we feared. It worked out well by getting laning phase advantages, but without Rumble participating in skirmishes to the bottom side, similar to Shen in game two, it's going to be a lot harder to do that, and especially to get crowd control, as there truly is only one main CC here, and that's just Gragas, who has been dying, and now they will lose and Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, nice setup here. We got a bunch of pink wards, control wards around this river. Just going to be able to easily rotate on over. And a big Mountain Dragon making things easier. It looks like Bless is trying to trade for the Rift Herald. No vision up there for CJ Entus.
But it's just such an ineffective use of time when you have your jungler soloing it. Look at how quick it was for CJ. They four-manned it, bam, wham, bam, you're out. Forget about it, you got the objective, you don't have to waste much, you only committed a couple of wards, and the timing was great. Crazy gets to join him, but it's already practically dead. There's no need for assist to come in here, and that'll only help Sejuani stay relevant against the Gragas. She's already up 2-0, she's even in farm and about 400 gold up.
Bless trying his best to do whatever he can, though. I mean, you got to find some objective on the map. Sejuani during this time was looking for ganks mid, it looks like, on Tempt, but outside of taking Raptors, they haven't really been able to do much, and Tempt has read this out very well.
Let's see pure flash engages here. I think Tempt can get out here easily, just needs to call the wave if he's really in danger.
He's playing it so safe. You know he knows. Missed that cannon, though, so can't forgive him for that.
It's worth 3 creeps.
It's like they don't know the value. Back in my day, it used to be worth 5 creeps.
It used to be worth less, I think.
Yeah. It didn't really play into my story if I told the truth. Here comes the Rift Herald.
You are so ready for politics. It didn't even play my story if I told the truth.
Yeah. I can easily make the transition from casting into politics now. Got my feet underneath me. That Rift Herald took out the first turret. It's a nice big boost to BBQ, who, as you said, were basically behind if you take away that extra gold.
Well, actually, the gold is pretty much the same now, bottom lane. I think the assists have been coming in from CJ. Remember that the first blood was also in their favor. Or was it?
The first blood was tempted mid lane.
Yeah, that
with Bless.
That pause put me in a trance.
Yeah. It's like a fog settled over the next arena.
I can't tell if Seoul is foggy or smoggy these days. I know I just breathe it in and I feel ill.
You're not advertising our city very well, Crumbs. Breathe it in,
I'm
you
not.
feel
we
ill.
Need people to leave major cities, go to the towns. We need better air.
If you had to choose, would you live like in a crowded city, or like what is your ideal living situation, Crumbs?
Can I maintain the job that I have in a rural location?
You can, but you need to drive like 2 hours. You have to commute.
So I have to go to the city.
It has to be realistic.
Then no.
So you would just accept the city life?
I just want to get to the point where we can wear Fallout masks and have it be acceptable.
That sounds really uncomfortable. I think in the future they'll have other things though. Maybe the future isn't us living with aliens or AI, it's just us living in bubbles.
You mean like the tiny rooms in Japan?
Except they're ventilated? Yeah. Perhaps. Maybe we just walk around with our bubbles. Maybe it's only around our heads. We have to wear like spacesuits to walk around on our own Earth.
You've been watching too much Black Mirror.
I know, man. Season 4 is coming out soon. I think at the end of this year. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. We got a play up here on the top side we should talk about. It's Seoul versus 2. Very pertinent to our discussion. And Seoul is getting chunked down. Feeling ill right about now, receiving all that pollution from Tempt. And there you go. Turret number 2 is going to go down. BBQ extend their lead.
Finally, we see the Lucian roam about 15 minutes too late, but he still finds a way to make his way topside. And now 2 turrets have gone down for BBQ. The lane advantages are coming into play. 4,000 gold lead. They need to now extend it to objectives. You've got tier 2s coming up next, which are a lot tougher to get. Dragon is no longer available and Baron's not in the pool. This is one of the most difficult moments for a lot of teams when you don't really have many places to go to and you wonder what is the right call. Well, they're going on to Rumble and it looks like this one's the right call for CJ.
Wings tanking this for so long, but a nicely timed flash by Crazy to get out of that one. Candy arriving a little bit too late. There was no way for Kog'Maw to get near after already eating damage from that equalizer.
So in this position, what BBQ is doing is great. You have 30 seconds until the Dragon. Even though it's cloud, you still want to be able to secure it. But because you don't have any turrets left to take and all need to defend, that's your job. You don't need to always be on the aggressive. You're going to be able to secure that Dragon, start building up lane advantages once again when you establish vision as they're doing right now. Deny vision, allow yourself to push out lanes, defend your tower so that you keep the gold of CJ's pocket as small as possible, and then once you're already set up and once you're strong enough to push to tier 2s, you go for it. There's no hurry here. They just have to play it comfortably, and I think they'll be able to do so. Expect them to push out within about 7 minutes.
7 minutes?
Yeah. Push out and go for tier 2s. That's going to take some time when you don't have any crowd control.
Well, they will pick up the Cloud Drake here. BBQ will.
Here's how you do the math on it, right? So first, you can account a minute to push out all the lanes. So the coordination to get everybody in place, about a minute. Add 30 seconds to that and getting vision. Now subtract add another minute 30 when it gets taken back from the other team. You're already at 6, or rather at 3 minutes. Then By the time you base, you refresh your wards, you're already at 4, and then your final setup, 5 to 6, 6 minutes, and then at 7, you're already shooting for tier 2s.
I see. Some good math you laid down for everyone.
Let's see if it comes true. Top lane should likely be the place where they do it, although CJ wants to strike.
Look at Bless again. He's like so not afraid of anything. He's willing to charge into 5 at any point in time. Crazy was rotating up here. They were thinking about a fight. Just going to help out in pushing mid lane, I suppose.
Well, it's just a classic Korean way of playing. If you think there's going to be a fight going and there's nothing for you to do on the other side of the map, if you're not immediately threatening an objective, just go help. It doesn't matter how far away you are. I mean, remember back to that crazy game 2 of Jinair versus KT, where there's a fight happening at Baron and Yasuo walks from tier 2 bottom to the Baron pit. It wasn't even the Baron pit, actually. It was the Krugs of top lane. Makes it to the fight. They wipe KT and then do Baron. That's some impressive awareness.
Yeah, and you have to have the awareness early on to know that it's going to break out, because you need to start running, you know? Got to get over there. You are limited by the movement speed of your champion. So we're looking at about a 30-minute time to begin pushing, as Crumbs did lay out the forecast for us.
I see, here we go. The vision's coming in. You already have Lucian up here. He's about to take control of the top minion wave. I think when the second wave crashes, he'll try to make sure that they both line themselves up as quickly as possible.
CJ traveling as a team here. Lots of pings going towards the Baron, but they decide against moving that way, moving in towards mid. But some vision coming in. Bless thinking about an engage. Looked like he really wanted that one, but the rest of his team called him off.
I think he wanted to fake out to see if Veritas would take the bait and maybe flash out, but it was he that actually put himself in danger. Had Rakan turned on that one and they used Sejuani ultimate to take him in, that would have been a free donation.
Free jungle kill too. Very valuable with Baron on the Rift right now. So we have a different build here for Kog'Maw. Went into the Rageblade Hex Drinker instead. How do you feel about this one?
This one's fine because now you have a Renekton on top, so you do have some more physical damage on your team. Typically you'd see this composition with 2 tanks between Sejuani and your top laner, but now that you have another physical damage dealer, you're not too worried about Corki being so much magic damage. You can afford to also be a magic damage dealer and have Renekton do his thing.
He chose not to hit that cannon. He was like, no, I'm not going to hit the cannon. I'll get the back to ranged creeps.
They don't want gold. They're all about the silver.
Well, I suppose that's why they're in promotions right now.
He might have also thought that the
second shot would have hit,
but there's just no need to risk that because you know the passive shot's going to hit the other minion anyways.
Yeah. Just click on the cannon first. Was on time.
The easiest way to do it, if you're worried about missing cannon minions, just use spells on it.
That's what I do.
Yeah, there's no shame.
Not all the time, though. Sometimes. Ghost is, he's doing the Tristana thing in mid-game where we've seen this a lot out of guys like Deft. You know, you just push forward. You're not scared to hop on in at any moment if the enemy doesn't respect you. You can already see Pure is getting pretty low. And Triss burst damage with 1 crit and an ult is pretty insane, especially against a squishy support. Although he has built a Glacial Shroud already. Getting some armor built up here is Pure.
Well, that's the benefit of the Tristana build. When you go rapid fire with the static shiv, that first hit that you get against the opposing laner in mid lane likely wins you that trade from the get-go. Such a high range, such an unsuspecting amount of burst that you might net yourself the ability to jump in and start beating someone down. Here's Scott, though.
There it is. They saw this coming. By the way, there's the flash forward. Even the equalizer used, probably by mistake. Could have used it here to follow up for some more kills. Unfortunately, they will only get Pure, although they turn around once again onto Winged. Ghost, he's pushing forward. There's that damage out of Tristana coming through. And after getting 1 kill, there are pings towards that Baron. We'll see if they actually commit here.
They're gunning for it, although Winged has base. So instead of going for it, they're going to go for a Baron, but they need to start this now. They know they have a numbers advantage.
See Candy, he knows. He's coming over here. Soul trying to group up. Veritas grouping up as well. It looks like they're just going to try to steal it with the Corki, but it does not work out. Winged, where was he? He wasn't in position to try to steal that one.
He had to base, took so much damage in that previous engage, and almost on the mark. It wasn't on the turrets, but it was after the attempted vision to go for the turrets that BBQ find a pick onto the mid lane. They see the Rakan get a little bit too close, and the engage is great. I like the decision from Ghost to flash in here. The fact that they're able to do so much damage to Sejuani afterwards makes a big difference here. She chooses to go in unaware that her hit points are the one thing keeping CJ defending this Baron. So her decision to go back in actually was costing the Baron even almost just as much as Pure getting caught. Had he been alive, BBQ's decision-making at Baron would have been much tougher. Do you turn? Do you risk a 50-50? Do you give CJ a chance to make it back into the game? Well, they didn't have to do that choice. The answer was simple. Rush it and take it.
Yeah, and you were talking about that 30-minute mark for the beginning of the action. Seems like 1 pick is all it takes to really start this one up. And already 1 turret going down. BBQ beginning to push into the mid lane as 4. Just leaving Lucian all by his lonesome. Looks like he's looking to group up after taking this blue. And things are beginning to spiral out of control. 7,000 gold ahead. There haven't been too many kills in this game, but somehow BBQ has been able to secure a massive lead in this one.
They've been able to play it smoothly. They recognize once again that CJ's inability to be proactive in this game is their downfall. They just have been unable to find anything that they want. BBQ has complete control, even though their composition isn't indicative of doing so. And so they can get away with having stronger lanes and don't necessarily have that much synergy when it comes to a 5-on-5 team fight, but it still allows them to be in this position where they're divided in 3. They're pushing 3 lanes at once. That is the greediest way, but it works. When you can do it right, you get so much at the same time.
Yeah, and you got a Rumble that can go up against that Renekton. I mean, Crazy hasn't been having the most impact on this game, I have to say, but at least he can split push in there in the top lane. Is going to take that down as Renekton backs off, and all the lanes pushed at once, as you said. They're not going to give up here. Inhibitor's going to go down. Wings taking a bunch of damage. Look at that from Tristana. She's getting out of control. 4 items, or 3.5 at least at this point in the game.
And CJ just was never even prepared for this. They have wards behind every lane to TP to, but they never pulled the trigger. They never got in position, and BBQ with 1 Baron is looking to take 3 inhibitors out of CJ.
Oh boy. CJ falling apart at this point. Now they want to take an engage, but it's too late. 2 inhibitors go down. The top inhibitor turret has been taken out. That was all out of 1 Baron.
And when you have still some Baron remaining, allowing those bases to be real quick, you can shoot for quick regroup to the top side of the map, and against double inhibitors that have been so freshly taken, it becomes a very simple game of just waiting for the minions to do the dirty work before you go in and you take the credit. The minions do all the work and you say, ah, yes, yeah. Almost working like a corporation.
They do work for Team Blue, that's for sure. And you can see some pings that did go down on the bottom lane, actually, as that lane is pushing in quite nicely for BBQ, but then pings went up on the top side. Definitely the safer lane to push is the top one. You want to take out all 3 inhibitors. Get ready for Elder Drake that will eventually spawn here in this game. Or even just go for the end. I mean, they're just ridiculously far ahead.
They don't need to go for any more objectives. Just wait for the minion waves. You can already see the one bottom lane stacking up. CJ has one final hurrah here. They need to teleport Renekton in. This is good that they're waiting in a brush. But where's Renekton? Where's Sejuani? They're already all from the front. That's not going to work against Yana Gragas.
Oh, they want to get Ghost, though. There's that rocket jump, and this time the Rakan wasn't fast enough. As he was spotted, Ghost with the safe rocket jump away. And Tempt by himself is drawing so much attention. Overcomes Soul, overcomes Candy, Veritas even. They're going to have to give up that inhibitor. And in come the double super minions. Bring in the dancing lobster, as Amanda Bynes would say. And Soul now just going to be chunked down. It looks like this one is pretty much a done deal.
CJ never looked to engage, and BBQ just took everything that they wanted, and now they're going to take the game.
Okay, nice engage, but you might be a little bit too late on this one. There's that follow-up. As I say that, though, Bless is taking a ton of damage. Crazy by himself is trying to turn it around. But look at Tempt. Look at Totoro. They are just totally safe. Even though they take out Ghost, they have more carries. And Tempt, it looks like he wants to do it all by himself. Are they actually going to back off here?
Whoa.
Looks like it.
Almost. They almost got the Tristana right away. The engage and flash stun from Soul was so important in order to get that pick. That just saved the game. They still remain alive with the base in shambles, basically on fire, and you don't have enough water. But Baron is up, so BBQ don't need to risk going for more. The spawn timers are too long, and let's take another look at how this one went down. So Rakan goes onto Tristana, the cleanse misses, and he also hits the charm right away. So no flash stun from Renekton right away. Instead, it was Pure going for that nice all-in. Once again, he did it in the laning phase against Tristana. He finally finds her, and it's enough to keep him alive for a couple more minutes, but it feels like somebody else needs to step up and do that again, because now nobody has flashes available.
An Elder Drake spawning in 10 seconds, rather. Gonna easily take this one out. Still cleaning up the base is CJ. Trying to bring in whatever items they can, right? Just Glory purchased by Pure. If he doesn't have Flash, I suppose that's one way to try to make it work. Some extra movement speed, but this is going to be a double buffed BBQ. The juiciest, meatiest chicken that you can get on the market is about to come charging down mid lane.
Oh, open up.
My mouth's watering already. Here we go. Let's see if Wings... No, he's not even going to try.
Going for a steal attempt there is already giving up the game. You need 5 members available, but did they at least try to set up vision for teleport wards? They have very shallow ones. See, that one in lane gets scouted.
Yeah, they got some options here. See what they can do. Would just be Soul coming in from behind. And that's going to be inhibitor number 1. We got inhibitor number 2 in the bottom lane, about to spawn once again. Oh boy. Ghost just threatening right now. Anyone who comes near, even Sejuani, is going to get chunked at this point.
Just wait till the equalizer drops, too. That's an infernal rumble now.
Yeah. Well, Culling just coming out. That's a fantastic cast. It is going to bring Pure in, but it brings him into his death. Down goes the rest of the team. In shambles right now is CJ. Candy, he's going to save some KDA. Doesn't matter in promotions, but that will be it. BBQ will take this best of 3, 2-1.
And the rough game 1 for BBQ, but they make it look easy in the second and third game to follow with a pure macro win lane, transition into a simple laning phase, and CJ will not find any action, and that's exactly what went down. The weaknesses that they showed in the Challenger Series were proven, and now we understand even more why BBQ chose to play against CJ, as their record now improves to, I believe it is
13-2?
13-3. 13-3 now, all time against CJ. So, one-sided affair.
Yeah, gotta admire their play tonight. Although it looked like they were sleeping. The rooster hadn't crowed just yet. And eventually they woke up after game number 1 and said, okay, let's turn this around. Coach looks pretty happy. CJ does not. A fantastical, mighty mid laner. Gonna have to take a back seat and wait to see who they are playing up against in that losers match later on today. The action isn't gonna stop, guys. We don't have long breaks in between these best of 3s. It's just about 10 minutes. So don't, go play a game or whatever. If you want to continue watching this one, definitely have to stay tuned. And looks like we'll take a look at some replays first.
That first gank. Felt like Corky should have seen that one coming, but this was the highlight for me on CJ for this game. It was pure finding 2 great engages. Unfortunately, that's about the highlight reel we can get for CJ in this game. There's not much more that they were able to pull off that was as impressive as it needed to be, given the dire circumstances that they were in.
If Candy didn't have Doran Shield there, he probably would have died. This was a pretty big pick here onto Pure. The flash out of Ghost, even the equalizer, but then Wings getting low, couldn't steal the Baron, and everything fell apart.
See, had Winged stayed healthy and they stole Baron, this could have been a very different game. But getting a Baron steal there would have been considered lucky. However, it's not about being lucky. It's about being prepared for your luck. And if CJ's jungler is not going to be healthy enough to be in that position, well, tough luck.
Yeah, exactly. Quite literally. And really nice cast here. Bless stepping up at the end to really secure this one in a big way. At this point, Ghost was just out of control. Tempt himself was at the same time. Easy cleanup, easy pickings for BBQ as they will move on to the next stage of this promotion tournament.
And they didn't get to show much. They played very standard, very methodical. Basically just let CJ beat themselves into the ground by having weaker laning phases. And in the end, their macro, their assault on turrets and objectives got them 2 clean wins.
BBQ with happy faces. We'll see what they can do on Thursday after they find out who they're going to be facing after the rest of the results from today. They get to go home pretty happy. They don't have to play that losers match later today. They should be happy about that one. So, guys, it looks like we are going to go into a 10-minute break. We'll be right back with our next series, Kongdu versus Emery.